So whenever we make a database, one of the things that we want to do is we want to start to throw some data in there just to test it. And then that way we make sure that we're not going to see any errors. One of the things that I've realized though is that for most people when they go to test it, they just start typing numbers in here, and you can imagine that just takes forever. So what I'm going to do is show you how to use some formulas to speed this process up and to make it a lot easier and to make it a lot more random so that you don't end up in some sort of pattern when you're entering numbers in. So I've got three formulas I'm going to show you. The first is just rand, and it's just equals RAND, and then parentheses open and close, and you hit enter. What that does is it creates a random number between 0 and 1. The thing about creating this random number between 0 and 1, watch what happens when I put a 2 right here. You'll see it changes all of the numbers. So with one of the things with rand is that these recalculate every single time that more information is added to the database. So as I'm adding records in over here, these numbers are constantly going to be changing. The easiest way to solve that is I can actually just go to copy and then paste special, 1, 2, 3. And then the numbers will stay the same, and instead they become text. So that's an easy way for you to be able to go in and put random data in here and then just copy and paste this text. Now rand isn't a formula I use all that much. Instead, I use rand between, and I use it quite frequently. So we're going to go here and say equals, and then choose rand between. Now what's great about rand between is that you can choose a bottom and a top value. So when I say 50, 100, and then close the parentheses, what that's going to do is it's going to generate a random value between 50 and 100, and it'll do it every single time. So 63, I go across, I go down, and you'll see instantly what it does is it allows me to test my conditional formatting. What I did is I set up a format that said for every number between 50 and 69.9, turn that number red and bold. And then over here, what I did is I set up the averages, and then I basically told me if that average is below a 75, tell me yes, that student needs remediation. So I just did a couple of little formatting things here in order to get a little bit of data, basically tell me who needs to be remediated without me having to go and actually look at the numbers per se. And I wanted to test it. So that's how I do it. I can test it by using the formula rand between. So any number between 50 and 100 will then generate my data here. Now, like we said, one of the things about this, if I go in here and add this and make it 73, it's going to change all of my numbers. So I can go in and I can copy and I can paste special, and now my numbers are this text instead of the formula themselves. So that's an easy way for me to do that. So here are my averages. I've got a habit where I just want them always to look like single digit with this rounding. So here's my averages, and here's the students who need remediation based on their average. And then I could also, of course, do this based on testing. And of course, I've got my filters here to be able to filter it. Now the other thing here is I've got gender. One of the things with rand between is that you can actually use it to do text as well. So you'll see this formula I have over here. Random can be used with text using this. You'll see rand between, and it's nested inside an equals choose formula. And we'll look at nesting a lot more, but when you nest something, so what you're basically doing is putting a formula inside a formula. So we're going to say equals choose. So what we're going to choose are values, in this case male and female, but we want to do it randomly. So we're going to choose random values. We want to use male and female, but we want it to be entered randomly, and we can do this with any number of things, as you'll see. So we're going to say equals choose, and then we're going to say rand between. Now my key here, bottom and top. In this case, we're only going to use 1 and 2 because all we're using is male and female. If we wanted to do rand between and have 6 different possibilities pop up, then we would say 1, 6. And 1, 6 would mean that there are 6 different possible things that could be entered into that cell there. So we're going to say 1 and 2, and we'll do close the parentheses. You'll notice it's red. And then we'll do a comma, and now we're going to put our values. Now whenever we do text values, we're going to use our quotation marks. So we'll say male and female, and then we'll close it. So this formula here equals choose rand between 1 and 2, two values. The two values are male and female. They go here. We hit enter. Now as we drag it down, notice it creates the random numbers for us. Now I can go to here and I can change this score to say a 58 or an 81, whatever, and you'll notice it automatically changes here. Of course, it changes the average, but it also changes our updates. So what, of course, we need to do would be to go in and copy and then paste his values, and then that would leave that solid and leave it as a static number there. So that's what we want to do. Now, like I said, we can use this for any number. So what I'm going to do to give you an idea, so I'm going to come back over here and delete those out. And I'll do the formula one more time. So I'm going to say equals, and I'm going to say choose. So I'm going to choose, and then I'm going to say rand between. And we're going to say 1, and we're going to say 5. So between 1 and 5. Now I can put up to 5 values here. So we'll do, let's see here, we're going to do, say yes, no, maybe, not sure, and then let's see, yes, no, maybe, not sure, and we'll say no clue, just for fun. So here we have these different values, so our different answers. And so when we put them in, there we go. So literally we could do this with any number of things that we want to put in and test any number of things. So if this were teacher names, we could put these in, and that allows us to then run and test all of our database without having to use real numbers and without having to sit there and do this and type all those numbers in. It's just going to randomly do it for us. So that's rand between, rand and choose, and then nested with rand between.